Ukraine destroys Russia's outflanking operation with a devastating counterstrike. Russians use bad weather to deploy 35 armored vehicles in a bid to retake Volodymyrivka, taking advantage of the deteriorating weather conditions that made it difficult for drones to operate. Russians deployed more than 40 armored vehicles for a massive mechanized assault near the villages of Volodymyrivka and Novoelenivka near the Dobropilsky Ledge. This was reported by the press service of the 1st Azov Corps of the National Guard and Deep State. Near Volodymyrivka, in the area of responsibility of the 1st Azov Corps of the National Guard, the Russians launched an offensive with a total of 35 units of heavy armored vehicles, according to the National Guard. As a result of defensive actions, 1 armored tractor, 3 tanks, and 16 armored personnel carriers were destroyed and damaged. The enemy also lost 41 motorcycles and 2 light vehicles. Confirmed enemy losses in the sector amounted to 107 occupants killed and 51 wounded. The enemy's goal was to capture the village of Shakhove, the Corps said. The enemy conducted offensive actions in several waves and from different directions. At first, groups of motorcyclists moved forward, followed by columns of armored vehicles, tanks, and armored personnel carriers with infantrymen. Thanks to previously conducted engineering mining activities and coordinated actions of the Ukrainian Defense Forces units, primarily artillery crews and unmanned aerial vehicle crews, the enemy's plans were thwarted. The fiercest fighting took place near and inside Volodymyrivka. The enemy managed to land 32 infantrymen, 12 of whom were eliminated immediately. The rest tried to hide in destroyed houses and basements. In the evening and at night, crews of heavy bombers worked on these shelters. As of the morning of October 10, there was no movement of enemy infantry in Volodymyrivka. The enemy's assault failed, Azov representative said. According to deep state analysts, in addition to the assault on Volodymyrivka, the Russians attacked with a mechanized column near Novoelenivka, taking advantage of the bad weather conditions. Simultaneously with the assault in the area of Volodymyrivka, the Russians used 8 armored vehicles, which the defense forces, in particular the operators of unmanned systems of the 93rd Brigade, managed to neutralize on the approach to the line of contact. As a result of the repulse, 1 unit of enemy armored vehicles was destroyed and 2 were damaged. The rest immediately retreated, making no further offensive attempts. During 2025, although the Russians did not stop using armored vehicles altogether, they significantly reduced the use of armored vehicles due to the high saturation of the battlefield with drones. However, with the onset of autumn and an increase in the number of days with no flying time, they again stepped up the use of armored vehicles, using the stocks accumulated during the downtime. Recently, Ukrainians are sealing off Russian routes. Instead of fighting the Russians one-on-one, Ukrainians are creating yet another fire pocket around a crucial Russian-controlled town in Sumy Oblast, launching the second stage of the offensive. Ukrainian special forces are advancing the line in the forest, while Russian soldiers are killed by their own for attempting to surrender. Ukrainian forces are using their proven formula with a simple yet effective goal: take the Russian ground lines of communication under fire control, isolate and starve the Russians in Yanilivka, and then turn the trap into a kill zone without any chances of evacuation or rotation. Russian commanders, bound by the obsession with holding territory at all costs, refuse to withdraw even from doomed positions, which the Ukrainians are counting on and more than ready to exploit. Unikivka's open layout with scattered and burned out buildings offers no cover and no reason for the Ukrainians to engage in a storming operation, which would only cost losses in an attritional battle that can hardly be won against an opponent with more troops on the ground. Russian drone footage shows the extent of destruction, confirming that Unikivka is a battleground Ukrainians usually avoid in order to preserve personnel and not waste them on frontal and grinding assaults, with the Russians switching to defensive operations in Unikivka after their attempted push forward was annihilated by Ukrainian drones and artillery. The tempo of the battle has slowed down significantly, so the Ukrainian command started preparing their next move. The trap takes shape along the Sudzha-Unikivka road and the forested settlements running into the town, where Ukrainian drone and artillery fire control needs to be established to Russian supply lines. First, the Ukrainians begun pounding Russian positions with relentless drone strikes, softening defenses and exposing supply lines in preparation. The next step is to secure the forests south of the road, vital for staging points and ambush sites. Control of these woods grants Ukrainian forces cover for mortars, reconnaissance, and drone operations, and blocks the direct access from Sudzha and Unikivka. This move would also deny Russians the ability to use the forest as an alternative supply route or start outflanking maneuvers through it. Once the forest is secured, Ukrainian attention will shift to Yablonivka, whose capture would close the pocket from the left flank and ensure that Unikivka is surrounded from three sides. Every path leading in or out of the village would then pass directly through Ukrainian fire control, a textbook kill zone designed not to win fast, but to destroy methodically. Ukrainian Special Operation Forces began clearing the forest in lightning raids, with recent videos showing elite units advancing on quad bikes, weaving between shattered trees and trenches after artillery has shredded the Russian front line. As some of the Russians chose to flee their positions, Ukrainian operators moved in, clearing remaining positions and eliminating the remaining defenders. Among the dead, Ukrainians found a phone filled with messages and videos of Russian troops complaining of hunger, no rotation, and commanders ignoring their pleas.
Иди.
Движение!
Давай.
After securing the area and pushing the Russians out, the Ukrainians reinforced it with infantry under constant friendly fire support, turning this position in the forest into another forward base for continued movement deeper toward the Unikivka highway. As a result, Russian morale is collapsing fast, and those still in Unikivka speak of constant drone attacks, dwindling supplies, and commanders ordering suicidal counterattacks in surrounding areas. One Russian soldier reportedly wrote before his position was hit that they lacked food, shells, and had lost all hope.